What's up, everybody? Dennis from Got Your Freedom Outdoors. Hey, back in the kitchen. But I'm not cooking dinner tonight. We're switching it up. I'm gonna do a little baking. I am making my own recipe chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. So I got the idea from a subscriber. Somebody we all know in our community, Kitty Q. She sent me an email with a recipe for a pecan pie. So I'm going to also make a video on the pecan pie. But tonight we're making my chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. So we got some chocolate chips. I prefer the milk chocolate chips. We got some oatmeal. I like the pure vanilla. Some ground cinnamon. My secret ingredient is peanut butter. Then we got some brown sugar, some granulated sugar, all-purpose flour. We got using 2 eggs. We have 2 sticks of butter in the bowl. It's been sitting out here for an hour. The key to this recipe is making sure that that butter is very soft. Yes, you can stick it in the microwave 10 seconds at a time to get it really soft. So we're gonna jump into this recipe. All right, so I'm gonna keep it zoomed in on the bowl so everybody can see it. So we're gonna start with our granulated sugar. So we got 3/4 cup granulated sugar. Now, most of the times when my kids are here, I have to double this recipe because besides making cookies every night, everybody's got to eat some cookie dough, right? All right, so we got 3/4 cup granulated sugar. Let's get that off to the side. Now, with the brown sugar, I like to use the light brown sugar. The one thing that I learned when using the brown sugar is to compact it into your measuring cup. So what I like to use is a little cup to get in there, depending on the measuring cup you're using. Just get it nice and compact in there. We got a 3/4 cup of brown sugar. So now what I like to do, once I get the sugars mixed in with the butter, I'm going to mix them. All you got to do is get that sugar mixed up with the butter, like that. Doesn't have to be fully mixed, we just want to get it together. Alright, so now we're going to put in our 2 eggs. Now the one thing I like to do with my recipe is when I add a new ingredient into the mix, I like to mix it up. So now we got this mixture, 2 sticks of butter, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs. We got it all mixed up, it's all nice and smooth. So now we can start adding our vanilla, our cinnamon. Now, I do not measure the vanilla. The recipe does call for 1 teaspoon. I like the vanilla flavor, so I kind of add to taste. Same thing with the cinnamon. I add to taste. So now what we're going to do, we're also going to add peanut butter. Peanut butter you add to taste as well. Big glopping tablespoon peanut butter, maybe a little bit more, depending on how much peanut butter you like. We're going to mix this up. So we're going to put this in the back here so I have a little bit of room. Now the flour, we're going to use 2.25 cups. Now the recipe does call for salt. I'm not a fan of salt, so I do not use any salt. Does call for 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Alright, now the fun part. Now we pour a little bit of the dry into the wet. And try not to make a dust cloud as you're doing it. Now, my kids always ask me what I want for Christmas. You know, Daddy needs a KitchenAid. Then I don't have to stand here and do all this hand mixing. Now, as you're adding the flour into it, it's going to get really thick. It's going to get hard to mix it, basically. Just keep going. So this recipe here, when my son used to wrestle in high school, I used to do more of a oatmeal mix for that protein for the wrestlers. I used to bake 60-80 cookies for their matches. His entire team would devour these cookies. They are pretty damn good. I will say that. They are really good. And you always got to do the taste test. Slight peanut butter taste. Good amount of cinnamon there. And you kind of get a little vanilla at the end. Now, like I said, add the oatmeal to your liking. I like a good amount of oatmeal in the cookies. It makes the cookies, gives it more body. So once we get all the oats mixed in, then we're going to add our chocolate chips. So that's a good amount of oatmeal for me. So this container here is 18 ounces. I used about half of it, so about 9-10 ounces of oats. Same thing with the chocolate chips. I'm not a big chocolate person. My kids like it, but for this, the big bag of milk chocolate chips, I'm going to use a little less than half. You know, when I do these recipes, even cooking, add or subtract an ingredient to your liking. So this is a 23-ounce bag. Probably used half of it. Alright, so that's the recipe. We're going to go over the ingredients. I will add them at the end of the video and in the description. So we have 2 cups and a quarter of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, your choice, dark or light brown sugar, 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. It calls for 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Add vanilla to your taste, to your liking. Cinnamon I just throw in, that's up to you. Add it, subtract it from the recipe. We have 2 large eggs, a cup of butter, which is equivalent to 2 sticks of butter. Make sure that the butter is very soft before you begin the recipe. You see how I did it? I had my wet bowl, dry bowl. Put your flour, your salt, baking soda in one bowl, and all your other ingredients in another bowl. And what I did, got the butter nice and soft, had that all mushed up. Then I added my brown and granulated sugar, mixed that up to get the butter and all the sugar. Then I added the 2 eggs, mixed that up. Then the next step was putting your cinnamon. I've even made this with nutmeg, but I prefer the cinnamon and the vanilla. Once I added that, I mixed that up again. Once you have those ingredients mixed in, Then you can add your dry ingredients, your flour. After you have that all mixed up, then add your oatmeal and your chocolate chips. Again, oatmeal and the chocolate chips, add your own desired amount. If you like more chips, add more chocolate. If you like more oatmeal, add more oatmeal. So now what I do with this mixture, I put it in the refrigerator for a minimum of an hour so it gets somewhat hard and it's not mushy. Because then you can take a tablespoon or a scoop and put them on a cookie tray. That's the way I like to do it. Let's give you a close-up of the batter of the cookie dough. So you can see the consistency, it's actually really thick. So we're gonna let this sit in the refrigerator for a minimum of an hour. Then we'll bake it. I'll bring you guys back when we get the oven going and I start baking some cookies. Good morning, everybody. All right, we got our cookie dough. I let it sit overnight in the fridge. We got our oven set to 375. Now we're just going to take a regular spoon. You can see it's hard. I should have. So this is all I do. I put them, I don't make them flat. I shape them somewhat round, throw them down, give them a little press. I use a tablespoon to take a chunk out, put them on the cookie tray. I just push them down a little bit. So that's it. You know, another thing, I've added raisins in these cookies and my kids don't like the raisins. So you can also add raisins. Alright, so we got the oven 375. We're going to bake these 9 to 14 minutes. So we're going to check on them in 10 minutes. Alright guys. There you have it. Chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. 12 minutes. Perfectly done. A little brown. Nice and soft still. So I'm going to grab my cup of coffee. Grab myself some cookies. Nothing like waking up, baking some cookies, getting my coffee going, and having some oatmeal chocolate chip cookies. Alright everybody, so we got the cookies out of the oven. You got the close-up of them. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my recipe, my baking, my chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. So I am going to put the recipe down right here. So here you go. Here they are. Chocolate chip oatmeal cookies. Alright guys, thank you. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoy this content. Please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Alright guys, we appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you.